If you were a property developer who went down to survey an old war bunker on your land, only to find out that it was built over an ancient burial ground which cursed you with eternal insanity, what would you do? In this How to Beat video, we'll follow the property developers, see if we can make better decisions, and ultimately attempt to beat the eternal curse in Gehenna, where death lives. If you think you can do better, leave a comment letting me know how. If you enjoy watching me dissect the actions of cursed real estate agents, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. I need your help to defeat the forces of evil. The Demon Lord, the Ice Golem, and the wicked monstrosities lining the corridors of the Doom Tower will not kill themselves. Use my links below to download Raid on your mobile phone or PC, assemble your champions, and take on the raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches. Did you know that over 76 million people from 195 countries across the world have played Raid, sacrificing a great many yeoman foot soldiers in over 35.5 billion battles? Raid is a chaotic world of war and glory, only survivable by the most powerful champions and clans, like Tormund the Cold, his giant brother Turvold, or their grandfather Sir Nicholas. Raid just released a ton of amazing new clan features and improvements. There are brand new quests for you and your clan members to work on together, new benefits for every clan member just for being in a clan, and even a brand new clan shop that gives you access to some incredibly powerful weapons. There's also new champions to collect from fragments in the Doom Tower, and a load of events and competitions to take part in. Get a head start in Raid by hitting the link in the description or scanning my QR code, and you'll get an epic hero, Chanuru, 200,000 silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard to summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Rewards will be available only for the next 30 days and only for new players. Now go forth and sacrifice your yeomans for greater glory. We start out following some poor traveler getting ritually defaced and buried alive. That's why you gotta pack heat on your expeditions to remote areas. Never know what kind of twisted ass tribes you might run into. Nobody's suspicious about travelers disappearing in Saipan. Quite the opposite. A group of developers are scouting its beaches looking for a location to build their new resort. The Zillow listing initially looks great. Cheap beachfront property on a tropical island. The catch is that it failed to mention anything about burial grounds, sacrificial chambers, or accursed lands. The developers aren't completely uninformed though. Their driver fills them in on the way to the property.
It was sacred burial ground before Japanese even come.
It's kind of late to back out now. Who actually believes stories like Pet Cemetery or Indian burial grounds? It's all made up bullshit to keep people off their land. I'm not saying I wouldn't still bring a Glock 19 though. When Pepe opens the car gate, he notices that one of the doll ornaments has fresh blood on it. Maybe someone is trying to scare them off because they don't want Mr. Monopoly to build a giant tourist hotel in their backyard. Pepe neglects to say anything, not wanting to be that guy. While they're scouting the property with their drone, they spot a couple of indiges roaming around in the forest. Pepe exclaims that they must be headed to the old Japanese World War II machine gun bunker. Of course, if they want to build a Sandals resort here, they're going to need to check out this war bunker to ensure it's not going to be looming over their bungalows. The locals aren't super friendly. I'm not sure what happened to this guy. Maybe he pissed off the ancient spirits.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm sure it's just an animal or something. As the developers who have to give the stamp of approval for construction of the resort here, they need to make sure this bunker isn't home to anything dangerous. That doesn't mean they need to go inside right now though. It's obvious something is down there and they have no training equipment or weapons. Alan's visibly nervous and suggests sealing the entrance with concrete. Tyler says that they need to check it out to make sure it doesn't run under the property, which might pose structural issues. Both are valid suggestions, and I can see how bringing in certified tunnel explorers might be overkill if the bunker turns out to be smaller than expected. The crew crawls in and realizes that the bunker is just an entry point to an extensive tunnel network. Tyler correctly states that they're not equipped to survey and explore this. Alan even throws in a complimentary excavation of the entire bunker once payment is in escrow. Just when they're about to make this sensible decision, Paulina presses them onwards. Calling in an expensive exploration and survey job for something they might be able to do themselves could jeopardize her promotion. I think I'd pass and hang out on the beach instead. I'm not sure why Alan and Pepe are tagging along. They really don't need to be a part of this. Tyler has the most pathetic flashlight I've ever seen. Looks like one of those $5 ones you get next to the cash register at Walmart. And I'm sure he didn't pack spare batteries, and it will die once they get sufficiently balls deep into this tunnel network. There's a lot of doors, a lot of corridors, a lot of rooms, and they all look the same. They really should be using some form of breadcrumbs or makeshift line markers so they could retrace their way back out when they get lost. The semi-good news is that Paulina's boss knows where they are, and generally when he should hear from her again. If they get totally lost or trapped in a cave-in, they'll eventually be found. It's no use telling anybody what you heard. They'll think you're hearing things and push on with or without you. And it's far too late to turn back by yourself now. Basically, you're fucked. He might be able to incite enough dread in Alan and Pepe to get them to go back outside with him. It's worth a shot, but of course, they'd be walking towards whatever is stalking them. I'd still say it's better to face whatever it is now than when you're deeper into the tunnels, more lost and out of flashlight battery. Dave stomachs his concerns and quickly joins up with the pack. You definitely don't want to be in the back of the group. Paulina takes point and trips over the remains of a Japanese soldier because they can't see shit with their Walmart flashlights. No matter, corpses and old Japanese war bunkers are to be expected. She pushes them forward to continue surveying. Paulina is really starting to remind me of Scarlet in As Above, So Below. Fearless when she should be fearful. In the corridor ahead, they find more bodies. What's somewhat concerning about these bodies is that one is a civilian female wearing post-war clothing. If she wasn't down here during the war, why was she down here afterwards, and what the hell did she die from? It's not a good picture being painted.
The hell?
That's a hard fucking no. Shut the door and leave. Whatever this thing is, it wasn't trapped down here. It could have left at any time. It's not on them to save whoever is down here. Alan can go ahead and call the concrete truck to seal the entrance. Jesus Christ, how do you go from being a real estate agent on a beachfront property to fighting off grotesque humanoids in old war bunkers? Whatever you're getting paid, it's not enough. Paulina tries to hear out what the man thing has to say.
Alan! You must die.
I'm gonna come back to how it knew Alan's name in a second, but first, bro, why are you being vengeful? You came at Alan like a crazed lunatic. What was he supposed to do? Give you a fucking hug? Have you looked in a mirror recently? You're lucky Alan didn't punch a hole through your malnourished body. Okay, the name thing. It's quite evident that Alan and this dude were not pals. Maybe it heard them call his name earlier, but I doubt it. The only other way is if the superstitions were real. At this point, you might as well assume the worst and get the hell out. And if I was Alan, I'd be taking the next flight out of Saipan. Paulina, in an act of egregious unnecessity, puts her face up to his to check if he's still breathing. Who in their right mind would ever think to do that? Jeep, who could have expected that? At least malnourished Skeletors are easily overpowered. This dude is throwing mad accusations at people he's never met before. They're trying to build a nice resort with infinity pools overlooking the ocean, and Paulina was even kind enough to try to help you. Not sure how whatever misfortune befell you is their fault. Alan tries to destroy the video evidence of the altercation, thinking it implicates him in some way. What judge would watch this footage and not think Alan's actions were justified? This unholy half-dead was already well past the point of being savable anyways. While Alan is struggling for the camera, the old war bunker has a PTSD outburst of its own. When they wake up, the lights are on, the corpses including the man-thing are gone, and all the shelves were restocked with food. It's like they time-traveled back to when the bunker was in operation and then sidestepped into the limbo hell variant. Maybe they got turned around, or the locals are fucking with them and trying to scare them off with an extremely elaborate prank. Implausible, but way more believable than getting sucked into another dimension. Everyone, including Paulina, is anxious to leave the bunker now, but it's too late. The door is sealed somehow, even though the crossbar's unlocked. Alan and Pepe split up from Paulina, Dave, and Tyler to look for another exit. In their search, Alan and Pepe find a now operational war radio that they might be able to use to call for help. Optimistic, but it's not like they have a better option. Paulina's group finds a much more foreboding scene. A blood-stained ground with a diary containing a suicide note, and the man who wrote it. Okay, Ashton Kutcher, you can come out now. We got punked, This fake dead dude can get up now? Please let us out of the old Japanese war bunker. No hidden camera crew shows up, and that soldier is confirmed to be super dead. It's now dawning on them that something incredibly sinister and supernatural is going on. Alan hurries Tyler to the radio since he's the only one that understands Japanese. I'd have snagged that Nambu pistol on the way out just in case another malnourished freak charges at me again. Tyler radios for help, but the only response is a repeating recorded message of an imperial order saying that civilians who commit suicide are given the same spiritual status as soldiers who die in battle. Ominous. I'm with Paulina. Let's try another frequency before going down that route. Dave tries to calm himself down by getting some fresh air in the hallway after having a pistol shoved up to his head by a World War II Japanese soldier moments ago. He doesn't find any serenity. He starts hearing his name whispered to him from the dark ends of the corridors. Either that PTSD is setting in quick or you're in deep, deep shit. Tyler tries the radio again and finally gets a response. He neglects to tell Paulina about that one. Everyone's keeping their evil omens to themselves so as to not cause panic or look weak. I think in these situations, it's best to be forthright. The more everyone knows, the better their chances are at coming together and defeating whatever's after them. Pepe, being the most superstitious of them all, stays behind a prey. He notices that the soldier has one of those dolls in his shoulder pocket. Pepe grabbing the knife to stick his spirit mom with was a good call, but I'm not sure physical weapons are going to be any use against them. This might be one of those ones where your best weapon is protecting your mind against insanity. The others are total assholes and leave Pepe on their search for an exit. Another great reminder that exploring desolate, uncharted territories with people you don't trust is a terrible idea. They start heading through an opening in the bunker that leads downwards into a barren cave, which they themselves remark as not being created by the Japanese. Guys, if this wasn't built by the Japanese, it probably won't lead to a potential secondary bunker entrance, especially since it's taken them deeper underground. Not that even looking for a secondary exit would matter at this point. They're already trapped, and I think they know it. This is an evil that they're gonna have to face. In the next room, there's Bojobo dolls painted on the walls. According to Dave, who did some handy brushing up on Saipan's history before arriving, these shitty drawings were the first Bojobo dolls, drawn by locals as depictions of their ancient chief who was buried down here while colonists ravaged and tormented his bride and the Chamorro people. It's said that the ancient chief is still down here, alive. If you had come down here with a guide after visiting the gift shop to buy fake $10 Bojobo dolls that were made in China, you'd have no reason to give a shit or be concerned. After everything they've seen so far, they should be taking this very seriously. My takeaway from this story is that they need to go say hi and see if they can help him be reunited with his bride. He should be understanding that they had nothing to do with that tragedy and thankful that kind strangers lended aid. There should be no need for bloodshed or suffering.
Claire?
Or he's just a twisted asshole. You know, there's two sides to every story, and I don't believe your little sob love version. You and your wife are probably malevolent tyrants that the Chamorro people begged the colonists to remove. Dave twisted his ankle, so they carry him back to the barracks to rest up. Alan and Tyler split off to continue searching for clues, which is where they find Pepe. He's not himself anymore. Alan really should have grabbed that pistol. Dave's hallucinations are getting worse. I'm not sure if Paulina left or Dave entered some alternate dimension where nobody can help him. Paulina's too busy TikToking to notice Dave choking himself to death until the last minute. As I suspected, these are demonic hallucinations. Everyone needs to stay close to physically prevent each other from falling prey to the ancient chief's tormentations. Dave's last words before Paulina leaves him again is that the Bojobo doll he picked up from the crazy man at the entrance was the bride, and that they need to reunite it with the chief Bojobo doll for the curse to be lifted. Honestly, that's their only option, and it sounds plausible. They just need to stop bitching at each other and hurry up before they all go insane. Alan can't come to terms with the situation and gets drawn back down into the cave by his ex-guide Pepe. Not a good place to be, especially by yourself with only a lighter in your hand.
fault.
Paulina is the last to start hallucinating and gets suckered by some kid's footsteps into a back alley. Not just some kid, her kid, who I'm guessing died in some freak accident that Paulina is loosely at fault for. How is it so hard for people to realize that they're just hallucinating? Why do they always get suckered by visions of their dead loved ones in the most unbelievable situations? I can understand a mother running to her late baby's room after hearing it cry. What I can't understand is that same thing said in a cursed World War II bunker that you're trapped in. Tyler pulls Paulina out of it just as Alan arrives. Then Tyler has one of the most insidious hallucinations, not of a monster or a deceased child. He hears Alan say horrible things about Paulina, things Alan never actually said. They finally come together as a team, realizing that they're being pit against themselves and one another. They need to find that Chief Bajobo doll before they kill themselves like the Japanese soldiers did. Tall task in this giant sealed off bunker. Hopefully it's still inside and not in some other bunker a mile away. The Japanese soldiers killed by this curse may have done something with it, so their diaries may hold clues as to its whereabouts. Sure enough, the soldiers had found the Bajobo doll, Gehenna, and then all killed themselves and each other. The doll's whereabouts are still unknown though. Wait, is Dave still all alone?
No.
Tyler realizes that Dave killed himself with a knife, the knife that Pepe had. Is Pepe embodying the cursed spirits, or did Dave find another knife? Who knows, but Pepe is clearly playing for the other team. To make matters worse, Tyler's shitty flashlight inevitably dies. Who knows when the lights will go out, and with their hallucinations continuing to worsen, they need to get to that Bajobo doll ASAP, before they're crawling on their hands and knees in the dark looking for it, with evil spirits jump scaring them around every turn. Paulina and Tyler could be getting close. They are at the location all the soldiers' bodies were dumped. One of them might have the Chief's Bajobo doll, or unfortunately, it's likely that it's buried further down the tunnels. Alan shows up and slips a knife into Tyler's gut. He isn't waiting to get killed by the others when they go crazy. He's gonna strike first. Dave was his first victim. It's not a completely insane strategy, except for the fact that you're all depending on each other to stay lucid enough to find and marry both Bajobo dolls. Paulina escapes down the tunnels where she finds Pepe. He has the Chief's Bajobo doll. She convinces him that peace is an option, and they can tie the dolls together to end this madness. Pepe hesitates a couple seconds too long though. Alan's aggression incites Pepe to sever the doll's head. Does destroying the doll's head end the curse or doom them? It's probably bad. Alan gets the upper hand and shoves the knife through Pepe's heart. Pepe's last words are that he won, which means he loses. Paulina and Tyler get the message that in this place, Gehenna, being the last one alive is a fate worse than death itself. That's why the Japanese soldier killed himself when they arrived. Paulina grabs the Nambu and hands it to Tyler to do the honors.
If you live, you lose.
It doesn't take too long for Alan to realize he doomed himself as the eternal witness by forcing Pepe to destroy the doll and being the last one alive. Better make yourself cozy in the barracks until another group of dipshits wanders down here to take your spot after you commit suicide for the final time. You know, you might be able to put that chief doll back together and then tie it to the bride doll to end the curse. Wouldn't that be a twist? Everyone kills themselves to avoid eternal torture, and then Alan just Elmer's glues the doll back together to break the curse and waltz out of the bunker. The movie ends with Alan coming full circle 70 years later trying to warn his younger self.
Get off me! You must die.
Let's recap the pivotal points where different decisions could have altered who lived and died. This gets into sketchy territory with the whole time travel paradox thing. What we witnessed was the recurring time loop after the group initially messed up by going down into the bunker. The Japanese soldiers' time loop was mixed in as well. It's like a series of eternal time loops happening simultaneously. Dave, Tyler, Paulina, and Pepe all died first, as did the Japanese soldiers save for the commander. This move had the benefit that they were not alive and stuck in the bunker bunker for 70 years, but they were not freed from it. They were still stuck in that loop, doomed to repeat it over and over. The only way this curse was stopped is if Paulina's group had managed to bind the Bajobo dolls together. Otherwise, they and the Japanese soldiers were doomed for eternity. Once the curse was broken, it's not clear if the dead will come back alive. Probably not. After Pepe severed the doll's head, it was game over. This curse can likely never be broken now. Any new visitors will be instantly doomed with no way out. Even if a total excavation is performed, those stuck in the time loop may not be freeable since it's out of this dimension. I'm not really sure we could have altered the events drastically besides not entering the bunker. Everyone was inevitably going to go a little crazy, and none of them really trusted each other that much from the start. There was bound to be conflict. It all came down to Pepe decapitating the doll, which was a dumbass move. I loosely get that he wanted vengeance on Alan and what his type of people did to the Chamorro, but he damned himself and the others to eternal hell too, just more intermittent than Alan's version. It makes way more sense to break the curse to save everyone, past, current, and future, than fight it out with Alan. If Alan does kill you, you are not doomed in a time loop, then Paulina and Tyler can take care of him. Their entire strategy of binding the dolls together relied heavily on Dave's history lesson and him grabbing the bride doll at the entrance before they went inside, Tyler's Japanese fluency, and Paulina's Spanish literacy. All said and done, I'm not confident. I'd say the curse from Gehenna was unbeaten. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't explore remote uncharted territory with people you don't trust.